Did somebody say that Scarlett's about to play some StarCraft? I think so. She's coming up in a couple of moments. We're live once again here at the DreamHack Zowie Open for the WCS Circuit Summer Championship. It's the last game of the round of 16 and it's happening in a couple of minutes. A big thank you to our sponsors, Zowie, Razer, G2A, Monster Energy, and of course, Alienware. It's time to get on your phones and your smartphones with the hashtag DHOpen and WCS. Joining me on the desk for this exciting game and to go through and break it down, we do have Mr. Grey, we have Tasteless, and Artosis.
Yes, indeed. I am so happy to be up here with you, Apollo, of course, Mr. Grey, and Tasteless.
Mr. Grey.
That's Dr. Grey to you.
Before we talk about Scarlett versus Nerchio, which is obviously a huge game, we just saw an exciting one, the Neeb going through to the round of 8. Are you happy as a proud American?
I am extremely happy as a proud American. It's great moments as we got to see Protoss units die, which always warms my heart. We got to see an American move on once again, and that feels good, man.
I asked Nate a question earlier if he had an American flag waving outside his apartment, and he said he didn't, but if he had a patio or a garden...
If I had somewhere to put a flag to wave outside, I would.
He's very proud of this victory that Neeb has accomplished, and it's the revenge match from last week in Shanghai, where Uthermal took the championship, but here, where some may say it matters the most when it comes to WCS, it is Neeb that wins.
It's a pretty big win for him, of course. You know, this is trying to lock him in. He's already in the top 8, but there's a lot of people right on that doorstep that could end up passing. So with every single round that Neeb moves up, the more likely it is that we're actually going to have an American at BlizzCon.
Yeah, it's a big feat, of course, but let's look at the bracket, Tasteless, because it is looking rather good as we're getting closer to the quarterfinals. As you can see here, we've already got some matchups established. Hero Marine versus Major, True versus Wellmu. Neeb will play the winner of our next match coming up, Nerchio versus Scarlett. And then, of course, to the top right, we have a Laser Drogo. And news just in, Drogo beat a Laser 3 games to 2.
Right. Nice.
So Petit Drogo is in the next round and will play the winner of Pulp versus Tudming.
Yeah, and in fact, with Petit Drogo winning that, I'm pretty sure he passed eLaser for 8th place, if I'm not mistaken, in the WCS standings. So that is a huge, huge win for him right there.
And here are the games that are coming up very, very shortly. Nerchio versus Scarlett will be starting, and then we move into the quarterfinals. Not fully established yet who's going to be playing who towards the later stages of the evening, but an exciting evening nonetheless, Tasteless.
This match that we have coming up, I am so excited for.
Tell me, how excited are you for this?
Can you qualify that as a number for us?
I would need to get a thesaurus and get all the words that you relate to excited and put them together here. We've got the best North American Zerg against the best European Zerg.
Yeah, so a bajillion excited.
That's right.
Oh, if Tasteless is excited, I'm sure all of us are going to be excited as well. Before we talk about it, though, we did spend some time with Scarlett to catch up on what her thoughts so far on the tournament have been.
Hi, I'm Scarlett. My name is Sasha Hostin. I'm a Zerg player. I'm from Canada. Watching Marine King play in 2011, or maybe even late 2010, I became a fan back then, like watching the amazing things Marine King did. So I was a fan of him back originally, and that's partially what got me into it. And not only was it like the first time playing in my home country, it was actually the first tournament that I actually won, my first LAN that I won. I mean, I have really good memories of that. I was very different back then, but still. The only time I played since then was IM Toronto in Canada, and I didn't do so well there. When I initially decided to take a break, I was thinking a lot about like what I wanted to do, if I needed to go to university or something, if I like was getting to that age. I know I'm still young, but like everyone says, you need to go when you're young. I feel like I've changed my mind on that, and I'm like, I can stay with pro gaming as long as I enjoy it. I'm gonna keep doing it. Some people say I'm not as good as I was in the past, which may be true, but I'm trying to get back there. And I've been doing really well in the past like month or 2 in tournaments, so if I can keep that going, I think I can show that I can get back to my peak.
I really think that the training that Scarlett has had in Korea...
So I guess the big difference when going to Korea to play is, in terms of like specifically Korean teams, there's a lot more structure. I learned so much more there in just a week than I would even in like a month of playing just by myself. I've stuck with StarCraft because it is a 1v1 game, and I really like the setting of competing against one other player. it's all up to you. It's not about teammates, and that's kind of more of how I'm as a person. So that's why I enjoy it, I think.
Obviously, a Canadian winning in Canada would be huge. Scarlett, a big game to come. But it's not going to be easy, Artosis. Nerchio is one hell of an opponent to go up to.
He certainly is, you know, considered by most to be the #1 non-Korean player worldwide, probably the best Zerg worldwide. That is a fearsome opponent indeed.
It's going to be interesting. We were talking about this a little bit yesterday, but you know, Scarlett has been training in Korea, the mecca for StarCraft. StarCraft, the #1 dueling esport, one-on-one game. It's going to be very exciting to see how she does here against Nerchio, because you're right, a lot of people, Artosis, were saying Nerchio probably the best there is outside of Korea, but maybe that's going to change here tonight.
It's certainly a cool thing to kind of witness as we talk about Nerchio's great results, his absolutely phenomenal performances across the year. But as far as his performance in the big tournaments and these big, you know, the Premier League championships, we have to kind of look back to the same thing that's kind of been plaguing Neeb as we talk him up as being absolutely one of the best, if not the best. But he's got to get that championship, you know? We expect him to be up there. We expect him. The way that we talk about Nerchio, the way we talk about Neeb, you would have thought both of these guys won the first and the second championships this year.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but Nerchio did say in an interview at Shanghai that he really values consistency in StarCraft 2 over, you know, that one big splash victory, which makes me respect him even more, because that's the hardest thing in StarCraft. We've seen so many champions come, win one tournament, and then disappear forever. But Nerchio has been a top European since the beginning of StarCraft 2 and only gets better and better.
Here are the map vetoes for the upcoming game between the both of them. Not too much to pick out here on screen, but we can continue to talk about this. Scarlett, though, an impressive victory here could shoot her up the rankings, obviously with more and more points available. A difficult next match in the round, no matter what happens here. But Tasteless, a victory for Scarlett in this arena, I think you'd lose your voice, even
I almost lost my voice yesterday. I was going pretty hard yesterday in those games. That was super exciting. We'll have to see, you know, can she be stopped? That series that we had, she didn't just manage to win that, she dominated last night. So let's see if we see something similar here. I expect this, and I think you guys would all agree, to be a lot closer, but who knows?
All right, Nate?
I think it's important to point out that both of these players had pretty easy matches, relatively speaking. Nerchio did drop one map to Semper. It was a very weird game that went incredibly long, and things just got a bit odd, but I think Nerchio had an opponent he was very favored against, Scarlett. I didn't think Puck would get wrecked as bad as he did, but Scarlett still had a very quick walkover of a series with how well she was able to dominate that. So this is the first big, real matchup that they're both going to be playing here. And I do have to say that Scarlett, you know, we talk about the results this year, comes in as a bit of the underdog with that home crowd advantage. That's going to be very interesting to see how it plays into her confidence in this series.
Absolutely. And well, we're very, very close to starting it from what I've been told. Artosis?
Yes.
Predictions, final thoughts
Excited
if you'd
about
like.
this. Okay, so I'm totally on the hype train of Nerchio being the best foreigner, but I absolutely think Scarlett will take him down here. I think that she's going to take it 3-2 most likely, maybe a 3-1, but I think her style is going to match up well against him. She's been improving a hell of a lot since Tours, and they had a sick close match there, so definitely going with Scarlett here.
Tasteless.
This is a tough one to call. I am going to say Scarlett. I think Scarlett 3-2. Maybe it's going to be a lot closer than that, but honestly, I am totally fine being wrong with this one. If Nerchio takes us, I can't say that I'm like super surprised.
Nathanias?
That's the part that makes it the toughest, right? I want to go with Scarlett because this is her home turf, that she should be feeling extremely confident. She's breathing in that sweet Canadian air again, and this is something that she's used to. It's an environment she knows. A lot of her friends are here to cheer her on. So I also want to say, though, with Nerchio's skill, it should be a 3-2 no matter which way it goes.
All right, well, thank you very much, gentlemen. Hope you guys at home and in the crowd are excited for this one. Tastos is going to be bringing it to you. It is Scarlett versus Nerchio.
All right, guys, let's get ready. Let's get hyped. We got to intro these two players for this best of 5. Over here in the upper left, in the red, our first Zerg player, he is Nerchio! in the bottom right, in the blue, from Canada, RO32, it is Scarlett!
Oh, an exciting match right here. Both of them opening up with that pool first on Dasan Station. A map that the later we've gotten into this tournament, the more I've been seeing pop up on both streams, Tasteless.
That's right, Artosis. This is already a very special map, which is going to take a very different style of play. You can see immediately both players obviously easily able to acquire the gold bases. So that does change ZvZ a little bit. It makes it so that Ling's obviously more important. It also makes it taking your third base a lot easier. You can stay on Roach Tech for a very long time. So let's see how these two geniuses of Zerg decide that this matchup on this map is played.
Well, it looks like so far it's a pool first into a hatchery at the gold base, so kind of makes sense. And of course, with those gold minerals, they don't need as many drones before they get units flying out. So could get very aggressive very quickly. And in fact, Scarlett already putting down a Roach Warren.
You know, there's this big balancing act on this map because you get that gold base fast. Do you use those resources to try to be aggressive and dictate the matchup, or do you use those resources to try to tech up or get an additional expansion? So Scarlett here driving those Lings out. The Roach Warren, I believe, it was not seen, right? That was in the bottom. Okay, just getting confirmation there. Roach Warren not spotted there. Also note just the number. Oh, one drone taken out. Actually pretty impactful, especially because that drone was sent to the gold base.
Yeah.
Which, of course, you always want to send a little bit more drones than you normally would to the expansion if it's a gold base, because you need to reap the benefits of having this gold base.
Well, the Roach Warren coming up for Nerchio right now as well. Does look like it's going to be a very Roach-heavy game on these two gold bases, but of course, if you're both just sitting there making Roaches, you can't really kill each other. So even though this looks like it could get aggressive, I'm not sure that that's going to be the case.
Yeah, I think if either player gets too aggressive here, that might be a mistake, but they may end up making an even number of Roaches. We're going to know in the next about 10, 20 seconds here. But they're going to go ahead and try to get this up. Now, that's interesting, getting the Ravager cocoon down here.
Yeah, I like this a lot.
Yeah, okay, and you can see Flo already showing us what's probably going to happen here. Because you can get behind the gold minerals, you could definitely abuse that artillery and try to hit the workers, and there's not really, obviously with Roaches alone, they're never going to reach that Ravager.
You have to actually kill the rocks like we see Scarlett doing right now to be able to go behind there and really stop it. But right now, Nerchio coming in with quite a few Roaches. Scarlett is making a lot of Lings and Roaches as well, so she's going to have to hold on here without losing any drones.
Pretty good positioning here from Scarlett. Going to take out a few of these Roaches over here in the front. Nerchio now being driven back as those Lings hatch. And meanwhile, the Ravager is behind the mineral patches. And that means that Nerchio can't really effectively ever mine from there. Now, this may snowball out of control because now Scarlett can continue to really produce from this gold base and actually maybe overrun Nerchio in the next few minutes.
Do you see this? She got 9 drones?
I know, it's crazy.
9 drones? That is insane. Already, Scarlett getting a huge advantage here on map number 1, Dasan Station. You see Nerchio starting to work on those rocks to try to stop that very annoying Ravager, but that has taken a long time.
And Scarlett going to come in here with some pressure. A Ling run by into the main. It means Nerchio's going to have to respond. Nerchio already being hit from so many angles so quickly.
Great micro right there by Nerchio, pulling back the Queen of the Minerals, but the Roaches coming up in the flank of that one Ravager. That's actually really nice. The Corrosive Bile forcing everything back. More and more damage caused by this attack from Scarlett.
Scarlett with a really well thought out build. More Lings coming in here right now. I'm not sure if Nerchio's going to be able to hold this expansion. Certainly, he will not be able to mine from it for some time being.
Oh, Nerchio rotating down with these Roaches now, trying to fight everything back, and Scarlett will, in fact, run away. Finally, those rocks are broken down, so now the Ravager has to run as well. But, I mean, this is just buying Scarlett even more time, and look at that damage that she's done already.
And a good runaway there with that Ravager. This now allows the Queens to come up here as Scarlett attempts to finish the timing attack here. You can see a creep highway being built as Scarlett has not been interrupted from mining from that gold base for some time now. Also, the two Roaches having to chase that Ravager means a little bit less defense over there at the entrance for Nerchio.
Yeah, everything going pretty much according to plan, I think, here for Scarlett. It looks like she's really prepared for a wider variety of strategies and maps than a lot of the other players in this tournament, which is really, really impressive stuff. Now, working on her back rocks, doesn't want Nerchio to be able to do anything to her like she did to him with that Ravager.
Now, it does seem like Scarlett may be backing up, at least for a little bit. I think Scarlett, it's safe to say, already in a pretty substantial lead here. Now, Nerchio did remake enough drones here to start to balance this out, but that doesn't mean that Scarlett can't still abuse the aggression on this map. But I gotta say, kudos to Nerchio for actually stabilizing in a game like this.
Well, I mean, he is just such an experienced pro gamer. You see, he even pulls up roaches into his main base to stop those lings coming around from Scarlett. She is trying to harass, but Nerchio is ready absolutely everywhere right now.
I gotta say, if Nerchio really does manage to win this game here, he is a genius, considering a strat like this coming from Scarlett and executed so well. If Scarlett could not manage to finish this off, that would really, I think, tilt the axis here in the favor of Nerchio, just seeing how he can think on his feet.
I would agree with you there, Tasis, but right now she is pushing forward. She has a lot of queens here that can help out with transfusion as well as damage. Starting to transfuse some of these roaches. A couple do go down. The Lings still trying to harass in that main base, and a ton of Lings coming in for Scarlett.
The queens are over here to transfuse. A few more Ravagers and not a lot of surface area to try to defend here for Nerchio. Scarlett is closing in. I don't know if Nerchio has enough. GG!
Whoa! Fantastic play there from Scarlett. Just completely out-strategizing Nerchio.
I am so blown away. I mean, you can really see Scarlett came in there with a plan. And it was just it was very well executed, and obviously very well thought out. And what's kind of funny about it is that we really don't know what exactly Nerchio had planned for us on that map, because he never got to play the game he wanted.
No, she just wrecked him right off the bat with that quick Ravager rush around the backside. She really has like cool strategies for some of these weirder maps, but as we move further into the series onto more normal maps that Nerchio plays all the time in ZvZ, I think we're going to see more strength out of him on those.
I totally agree. That was definitely, you know, exemplifying the brilliance of Scarlett, but that map is now finished. Yeah. At least in the series. So we're going to have to see how Scarlett plays on a more standard game. Now, here's that Ling run by. This was super cool. Going over here and hitting the Queen and the drones while the Ravager is hitting the workers in the back, and the Roaches are applying pressure over here in the front so that Nerchio didn't have to do the minimal to try to hold this. This is really where the strategy begins to work and then allows that timing attack to finish off Nerchio a little bit later on. Yeah, that one Ravager in the back as well. What a hero to kill 9 drones, and then it was flanking for a big part of the game, continuing to pick off drones, adding that corrosive bile damage to all the units that were clumped up. Just fantastic play. We are now going into game number 2. Over here in the upper left, in the red, he is Nerchio! And in the bottom right, in the blue, with a 1-0 lead, make some noise for Scarlett!
Quite a cheer going up in the audience for the hometown favorite in Scarlett. She leads 1-0, 2 more wins, and she shoots ahead to the next round. What a story that would be.
Well, we're on a map that is certainly not as insane as our previous map. And by the way, I think that last map that we have there is definitely a great argument for why you want to have a lot of maps where it looks different. You might not be comfortable, whether you're a casual gamer or a pro gamer, playing on a map like that. But when we have maps like that, that allows cool strategies to come out and blossom.
That is so, so true. You know, they are frustrating maps. We see them downvoted a lot. But this is something very powerful Scarlett did coming into this tournament. She prepared for DOS on stage.
That's right.
So she didn't need to veto it against Puck and just crushed on it. She didn't need to veto it against Nerchio, and she crushed on it once again. That is like a pocket map for her right now, and that's the type of forward thinking that I really love to see in pro gamers.
Now, although this map is a little bit less crazy, there are still some factors you can abuse on this map. There is a gold base that you can take that's further out, and we already see Scarlett go in for that. Now, Scarlett, by the way, seems to be pretty strong on some of these maps with a gold base. She really seems to know how to approach it. So let's see how Nerchio handles this. Now, because we've had a few maps like this before, this won't be something that Nerchio has never had to deal with. So let's go ahead and wait a few minutes and see how exactly Nerchio is going to respond to this. Because out of all the people outside of Korea, Nerchio should be the best at dealing with a moment like this.
Well, like you were saying before, Tasteless, Nerchio is the best European Zerg.
Right.
And Scarlett is the best North American Zerg. And that is that. There's really not too much argument about that right now. They are both absolute beasts. But, you know, this is a map that I think that they've both gotten to practice a lot in Zerg versus Zerg. So I think that this is going to be a nice, close game coming up.
Okay, we have both players going for the Baneling's Nest right now. They are going to be droning up. It will be up to Nerchio to do some kind of initiation or response at the bare minimum to what Scarlett's doing, because as we would all know, if we play StarCraft 2, you can't really let somebody take a gold base and sit back, right? They're just going to get more and more and more ahead.
Yeah, well, Scarlett, you know, she's already got a lot of drones at that gold base, making quite a few lings. Some banelings kind of morphing in the top right. We'll see if those come into play. That's kind of a sneaky move that could get drones, could kill lings as well, but looks like we have some banelings down morphing near her base as well.
So it looks like they're both going to be hitting each other pretty hard. Here comes Scarlett's Banelings first. Nerchio's have the option to attack a little bit later, assuming that Scarlett does move those out. She may be waiting for Nerchio to leave his base, and then she runs in. We'll see.
The Banelings running into this mineral line. Not really that many drones, so she only gets 2, but this is huge! Oh! 11 drones go down to those 4 Banelings. A great move by Nerchio.
Crisis mode here for Scarlett. Losing that many workers that early is almost unacceptable, especially if the strategy by Scarlett was to take the gold base. If you take the gold base, you're only using that to get the minerals right away. So Nerchio, definitely the tempo going in his favor.
Yeah, that was a really big moment. And like you were saying, you can't just let someone take the gold base and not punish it. That's exactly what Nerchio did. So Scarlett definitely playing from a deficit from here on out.
Okay, now Nerchio, after killing off those drones, does have the luxury of possibly putting on some more pressure and trying to do some more damage to these bases over here.
He is morphing some more Banelings. Looks like Scarlett will go over and try to surround. She's got to be careful about that. Whoa, just gets it in time. A lot of lings going into her main base, though. The drones come out for a flank as they surround the Queen.
The Queen is going to go down. Or did I speak too soon? Okay, the Queen does go down here, but Scarlett immediately cleans that up. Not really losing too many drones, only 2. Right now, the drone count is 35 to 26 with Nerchio in the lead.
Ooh, that's a really big lead as well. We do see that Scarlett right now continuing to re-drone, you know, slowly but surely. She has to rebuild her economy here, and she doesn't need necessarily as many drones because she has the gold. So don't worry too much if she's a little bit behind, but this is not a great spot for her.
No, it's certainly not. And I do like what Nerchio's doing is attempting to take his own gold base. They're both going to be expanding from here. I don't know if too much more damage can be dished out. We'll have to see how vigilant the 2 players are about keeping an eye on their workers and any ling or baneling run-bys.
Now, Nerchio is running in with a couple speedlings to scout a bit, and he's also actually made a drop overlord. So I think we're going to see some harassment from him coming up very soon. Some banelings morphing over on this left-hand side of the map, and there we go. A couple banelings dropped into the main. This could be big.
Let's see, is Scarlett watching? She needs to pull her workers in fast!
Oh my god, 10 drones going down. Nerchio just ravaging Scarlett's economy this game.
Really impressive stuff here by Nerchio. Really catching Scarlett just off guard. I don't know if Scarlett takes too many more blows like this, how quickly she can really recover. Now Scarlett dives in with lings. It looks like she will probably be zoned out as Scarlett attempts to try to get some kind of ground here in this game.
Yeah, now let's take a look at what they're going for, because yeah, a lot of damage has been dealt to Scarlett. It doesn't necessarily mean that she's just gonna die to the first attack Nerchio pulls together, but it looks like she's going into roach tech. She's getting that range attack, whereas you know, Nerchio is staying on Zergling upgrades, but hold the phone. A huge Zergling attack coming into this gold base right now.
Really nicely done. A few banelings here to try to zone out the lings here of Nerchio. Now the drone's being pulled over here as Nerchio continues to deal a decent amount of damage.
Oh, that is quite a few drones going down once again. This Queen in the regular natural taking a lot of damage as well. Just more and more damage to Scarlett.
We have some banelings being canceled over here as Nerchio is still continuing to press Scarlett right now. Scarlett trying to do some scouting. Looks like that Overseer should be gunned down. Meanwhile, Ling's headed southbound over here. We'll see if Scarlett is ready to respond.
Oh, well, with the roaches on the way, I think that she has a good chance of holding this off, especially with that +1 range attack. She can two-shot those lings with roaches, so that's going to be very good for defense. I'm just not sure how she's going to end up coming back. Maybe she's aiming for a very long game.
Hold up, we got some banelings coming over here trying to defend that. Still, Nerchio, yeah, just really able to continue to do damage here. Scarlett's slowly falling apart. 47 workers down to 27 on an even number of bases.
Good baneling hit right there by Scarlett, but more drones falling. The amount of drones that she's lost this game is actually astounding now. 35 having gone down. Roaches are out, so she can stabilize, but I don't know that she can attack or anything.
I think you're right, Artosis. I don't believe we can realistically see an attack. Now, we have a Spire coming here from Nerchio, which I think is actually a great choice because since Scarlett's going to have to try to sit back and defend and stabilize, this allows Nerchio to then leap to a next tech.
Yeah, that Spire tech is going to be brutal as well. The map is so long that Mutalisks are going to be super powerful with all of their mobility, flying around, harassing, forcing so many areas to be defended, and oh god, once again, 11 drones going down. We're nearing 50 drones killed this game.
This game is slowly becoming a landslide, Artosis, as more and more workers are being picked up. And this is the fundamental way to defeat another Zerg player, even in a Zerg versus Zerg. If you keep killing their drones, all they can do is remake drones and workers, and that means they're not making an attacking army.
Yeah, it's a very tough situation for Scarlett right now. A couple spines going up for Nerchio as he pops 8 mutas into that production tab, and those mutas might be able to end this game if she's not ready. She's going to have to throw down a bunch of spores. She's going to have to tech up to some anti-air, and from there, it's anyone's guess what she wants to do to try to come back.
Well, she's going to have to weather the next wave of Nerchio tech with those mutas coming out here. Now, it doesn't mean Scarlett's lost, but it definitely gives the game advantage over here to Nerchio. Nerchio has a lot of different avenues to play this game in, and it looks like Scarlett decides to tap out. GG.
All right. That's kind of funny. Game 2 was as one-sided as game 1, but in the other direction. Nerchio was just non-stop killing off drone after drone after drone, and you know, Scarlett was trying to hang in there, but when those Mutalisks were done making, there's no point any longer.
You know, it's a tough decision to make, right? Because that's not a game that necessarily ends in a big battle. It's a game that it just sort of pans out where Scarlett identifies, okay, I'm just too behind. Why would I waste my stamina in this best of 5, give up, and then go to game number 3.
Yeah, there's no reason to sit in the game and let the Mutalisks kill everything you have and just feel bad about yourself. So
no need to stop
exiting that, that's pretty smart to get out of there. So tied up 1-1, we're down to a best of 3 to see, you know, who's really the best Zerg outside of Korea.
So going into game 3, after seeing game 1 and 2, we haven't seen a close match. There hasn't been a lot of back and forth with these two. It seems like whoever gets ahead early on is able to maintain that lead.
You see there, that was Scarlett's attempt at a baneling run by, and Nerchio's so much better.
And that was really, you know, the tip of the iceberg back there is these few initial hits, but it really started to spiral out of control as additional attacks kept on coming.
Wow, a huge crowd out there today supporting that hometown hero in Scarlett as we enter game number 3.
Introducing our players down here in the bottom left, in the red, winning game number 2, he is Nerchio! And in the bottom right, in the blue, winning game number 1, she is Scarlett!
Always so touching to see someone play in front of their own countrymen, and you know, to see those chants, I'm sure it's really doing something for her to try to bring up her game to that next level and take down what we all consider to be, you know, the biggest threat against the Korean players at BlizzCon.
That's right. So it looks like we're going to have a fast expand for both players. Now on this map, there is a smaller bridge that does connect the two sides over here. Now in ZvZ, this is actually a lot more impactful than it is even in many other matchups, because if you lock this off, it's great, but you know, due to the speed at which Lings move, especially in the early game, once they get that Ling speed, if you manage to slip through there, you can have very quick access to your opponent.
Yeah, it really shortens everything, but it's so easy to hold as well. If you have some roaches on it, Lings will never get past. One Baneling is going to hold back the tides for a long time, so you know, it's kind of an interesting map for this matchup. It definitely can go into a much longer game. And
certainly.
That's what I'd really like to see out of these two. Let's see a long macro game, because, yeah, Nerchio is known as a macro player, but really that's Scarlett's roots too.
You know, it's interesting because I could not agree more with you, Artosis. I want to see these two have a long back and forth game, because so far, it's somebody gets a lead and it gets further and further and further, and pretty soon they've lapped the other person. And I'm wondering how a game where we have more sophisticated tech, where we have a more complicated structure of expansions on the map, how does that pan out with these two?
You know, I would love to see them both go into, like, Mutalisks, let's say, and just see those types of army movements around such a big map, especially a map like this where the islands actually have air blockers. I mean, things can get very, very crazy on New Gettysburg.
Yeah, those two islands on the map, I don't know if we're going to see expansions there, but the air blockers themselves, especially let's say they're both going mutas, there's a lot of little mind games you can do with that. So it could be a pretty crazy ZvZ.
Well, right now, both of them getting Zergling speed, a Baneling Nest on the way for Nerchio, and 4 Zerglings kind of going around the top. I wonder if he's going to try to morph a bunch of Banelings and run them in once again.
I'm guessing just because of the Baneling Nest timing here, that's going to finish up around when those Lings are wherever they're supposed to be in the mind's eye of Nerchio. And then he may save those and try to hit some workers, probably at the space we're seeing right here.
Well, right now they are running over in that direction.
Oh my God.
Scarlett's scouting for such a thing, and she is going to go ahead and find those 4 Zerglings, so I don't know if Nerchio will continue down this path.
Yeah, oftentimes when you get spotted like that, that can be enough to simply foil your plans. So that may cause a shift in gears here. We see a lot of Ling production, by the way, here from Scarlett. 2 Banelings being made and 6 more on the way for Nerchio. Yeah,
Roachwarren on the way here, and she is running across the map with those Zerglings. We could see them morphed into Banes, but a lot of them coming out. Oh, a big Baneling hit there for Nerchio, though.
Some more Lings moving around right now. Scarlett now retreating back down that bridge to get fast access to the bottom right. It seems like we may see them stave off from Ling production here. We do have a Roachwarren coming here from Nerchio while Scarlett is about to finish. But again, you got to be careful, because even if you take the quicker path, you're not that close on this map. So if you can't get there that quickly, that does give them a lot of time to respond and then force you back.
Absolutely. Now, Nerchio morphing some Banelings. He is running across the map right now with these Zerglings. In fact, going to go into this natural area, going up to the main base, but Scarlett's still making Zerglings, so should be able to hold this.
It looks like we're going to have 2 drones killed so far. Let's see if we can actually get a third one here. 3 now down. 3 more Lings, by the way, here for Nerchio running around. Scarlett may attempt to do a counterattack after this, especially... Nope, she was unable to block off those Zerglings.
Trying to catch those as quickly as she can, but the Baneling's coming up. This is a trick by Nerchio, trying to lure. Oh, great move, running his Zerglings back towards the Banelings, hoping that Scarlett is not paying attention, and she is not.
Yeah, Nerchio pretty sneaky with those Banelings. We got a few roaches now headed over here to the left side of the map. Nerchio already with the third base, not mining from it just yet. As current drone count here, Scarlett is in the lead. It's 28-37. So Scarlett not in bad shape.
Yeah, but this attack isn't going to do anything.
Right.
Nerchio has made a ton of roaches, is making a bunch of Lings here as well, and in fact, I wouldn't be surprised if he just counterattacks very quickly.
I think Scarlett made Nerchio do what she wanted him to do by making those attacking units, but the counterattack may just be too powerful as it is.
Well, if she's making units non-stop here, she might be able to hold against an attack from Nerchio. The Queen's getting off that bridge ASAP. The Roach is coming over through that quick path, but some through the top as well.
Nerchio is probably going to activate this attack pretty soon here. It looks like Scarlett managing to bleed off some of Nerchio's Zerglings as they were headed over here to the right side of the match. Those roaches now hatching. I think Nerchio might actually back off.
So far, you know, a lot of Zerg versus Zerg is when you get your drones. And so far in this game, Scarlett's done a good job of kind of staying ahead of Nerchio in those drones. Like, he will catch up, but she has him a little bit earlier. So just looking at it in that regard, I feel like Scarlett's done a very good job this game.
Yeah, Scarlett is playing very well. By the way, both these players showing a lot of respect for each other.
Yeah.
They're definitely not overextending here. And this is a great player by Scarlett, actually taking out 2 drones. A Baneling will zone this back out to the north. Also, Scarlett now maintaining control on the lower bridge here. And now clearing out an opening here in the center, which generally indicates that you want to have fast access to the left side of the map if you're Scarlett.
Well, she's definitely going for it, Tasteless. A lot of Lings on the way. She didn't go for the lair, which Nerchio did, so she is going to try to kill him off here. Quite a few roaches, some Ravagers as well, and oh, Nerchio just sees it now.
Okay, we have the Ravagers continuing to do damage down here. Gonna try to drive out that Overlord. Good reaction there by Nerchio. The rocks go down, and Scarlett is moving in. 20 more Lings are hatching. They will be meeting up to reinforce this army.
Nerchio might be in some trouble. The Zerglings come up and start a surround. The Roaches and Ravagers coming in as well. There was a Baneling. It doesn't connect that well, and Scarlett is pushing forward so strongly.
She's managed to trap the Roaches in the back. The Ravagers still able to do damage over here on the right side. More Lings spill in.
This is so many Zerglings coming up, trying to surround these Roaches, helping those Corrosive Biles hit, but Nerchio has a lot of Roaches as well. Does he have enough to actually hold this off?
The Lings are continuing to come in right now. 24 more still in production. It's going to be only Lings and the Roaches in the back to try to hold this off. They're spilling it even further.
She's starting to overwhelm here. The Roaches coming up and everything popping out of eggs and dying almost immediately. More and more Roaches being made by Scarlett, but where are those reinforcements?
They should be here pretty soon, but of course Nerchio's Roaches and Lings are going to be hatching at the point of attack here, which may allow him to reinforce just barely.
Oh man, about 6 drones do go down during this. Scarlett is getting a layer as well as droning up now, so she is just about done this attack. Still trying to get a little bit more damage on it. In fact, picking off a couple queens. A great last pick off before her attack ends.
So we have Scarlett just now being forced back a little bit. Now let's not forget that Nerchio did go for that layer tech, so surviving this attack without too many losses is actually a great thing, but Scarlett getting that layer tech as well.
In fact, she's going to go up to a 4th base right now. She's got to be careful, though. You know, Nerchio could have some sort of tech he was working on in that time. As we saw, there isn't anything like a Spire up right now, but Scarlett immediately going to start Roach attack as well as Roach speed.
So Scarlett still does have a possibility of being in a great position here, especially with the 4th base being acquired here, to get into a good spot in the late game. But that attack did not do the damage it was supposed to. You can see Nerchio peeking over here onto the bridge, which gives fast access to the right side of the map, is then going to have to bounce back off of that, as I think the smaller bridge, at least for the time being, can't really be used.
Now, this is kind of cool. Scarlett got ahead because she killed off a bunch of drones during that attack. So Nerchio has been re-droning, but hasn't taken that 4th base. Instead, he's trying to go into Spire. And if he can get into Spire without ample anti-air from Scarlett, he can absolutely take this game. But right now, her economy is better, her army is better, everything's better except for the fact she doesn't have a Spire of her own on the way.
Scarlett definitely has a good engine to propel her further into a favorable spot as long as she can deal with that air tech. And of course, if Scarlett deflects the air tech and that bounces off of her, then Scarlett's in a very good position as well, as sometimes the air tech itself can actually be a bad investment.
Nerchio right now trying to buy a little bit of time with these Zerglings. Scarlett has a much bigger army, but that Spire is about to finish, and Roach Ravager is not very good against Mutas. So if she's going to attack, it needs to be now.
The Spire is about to complete. We don't see any movement here from Scarlett. The Roaches over here from Nerchio are actually in a position to try to fish the army back into Scarlett's base, so Scarlett can't have any activity on the left side of the map.
This is fantastic play from Nerchio. He is all over the place, trying to make her scared, trying to make her think that he's about to pounce, and she's staying very defensively with the Roach base army. So we're about to have 5 Mutas pop out, and those are going to get pot shots non-stop on this Roach Ravager push.
And there's just not much the Roach Ravager push can really do here. here. Here come the Mutalisks hatching right now. We have about 5 out in the game. And this is exactly when Nerchio is going to reveal these.
All right, Nerchio is going to have to put everything he has into stopping this push, but if he does, he's going to be in a great spot. But that is a ton of roaches. Scarlett pushing forward right now. Nerchio on the top of the ramp with these roaches, but Scarlett looks like she might just go to the natural.
All right, Scarlett has to pick this battle and pick it wisely. I think splitting the army up is the right move. Roaches coming down here now. They will be trying to kill drones. Just below this and up here, we have a very big attack. And Scarlett even going into the main.
Scarlett has roaches absolutely everywhere. She's in the natural. Roaches coming up from Nerchio, trying to hold on.
So many drones are being picked off right now. We're down 11 here, but Nerchio will inevitably clean this up and then be forced into a counterattack.
Oh, will the counterattack be able to do anything is the question. Scarlett right now is setting up at home. She's droning up a little bit more, getting more upgrades and spore crawlers. So I don't know what the mutas are going to be able to really do.
Yeah, I mean, if Scarlett shapes up back over here at the right side of the map and can deflect this, and actually I love this as well. The roaches continue to march forward over here to the left side of the map and do as much damage as humanly possible. That's going to keep those mutas out of commission.
Yeah, even picking off these drones right now and keeping back the army of Nerchio. Great moves by Scarlett, especially considering she's about to have burrow and burrow movement. That is going to make it twice as hard for Nerchio to stop her harassment.
Its drone count, the drone count right now is 47 to 59, but we just had actually several more drones pop back at her. So Nerchio is catching up pretty quickly, but of course, remaking those drones, that's not attacking units. That doesn't mean that you have a lot of options to do anything for the short while that there is.
Okay, Nerchio now finally gaining control of his side of the map. He's going to move out with these mutas, start picking off a few creep tumors here and there maybe to stop the Scarlett attacks from being so quick, picking off overlords and whatnot, but Scarlett's burrow movement is done, and it's time for her to be a sneak.
She is going to be a sneaky snake moving out here with these roaches to the left side of the map. We'll see if the Overseer and the Mutalist spot it, but hold up a second. We got another attack coming in over here. Some more drones for Scarlett are going down, and Nerchio doing a great job of splitting as well.
Scarlett splitting up roaches all over the place on Nerchio's side of the map. He is going to go up and try to defend that third base area, but the natural is under attack.
I think that hatchery over there, yep, just down there is taken out.
And that was a layer as well.
That's right, that's a layer.
That is really tough for Nerchio. He can't build any more tech structures for a while. And a lot of drones going down on both sides.
Slowly but surely, it does seem like Scarlett is beginning to dissect Nerchio, as Nerchio is having to play catch-up throughout this game. Even an attack over here at the top with no drones mining at this expansion. And Scarlett is absolutely safe back at home.
Yeah, nothing left for Nerchio on that side of the map. Scarlett continues to just send over roaches, doesn't care that they can't shoot up. That isn't what she needs. If she just keeps on putting on damage like this, Nerchio will eventually have to concede.
Another unburrow over here with the Overseer now out. Again, just continuing to take out drones. We're now up to 20 here, and it looks like it's getting worse and worse for Nerchio.
Scarlett doing a fantastic job, continuing to target down everything that's weak that she possibly can, and she has a gigantic economy lead right now.
So far we've had 58 workers killed in this game. That is a very impressive number. Scarlett, you can see now beginning to tech up yet again, stabilizing here, getting a lot of Ravengers, having the Queens in a good spot to use Transfuse here and help defend, as well as bulking up that sheer roach number.
Yeah, if those Queens end up walking across the map, that could be GG right there. We also have Pathogen Glands coming up, so some Infestors will be on the way for Scarlett if the game lasts so long. She can use Fungal Growth along with Corrosive Bile, one of the most cost-efficient attacks in the game.
For the time being, Nerchio is going to have to hammer together some kind of a solution here. You can see that Nerchio is catching up in overall supply, but it's always Scarlett who seems to be one step ahead, and with a few more options than her opponent.
Yeah, she's just played this game magnificently, and now with these Infestors coming up, the fact that she has this many Queens and Ravagers and Roaches, like, her army is getting out of control. Now, Nerchio, let's not forget, he's building up quite an army himself. He has a lot of roaches at home. He still has the 5 mutas flying around, which is like kind of useful.
Right, yeah.
But against the higher tech of Scarlett, I feel like if she just maxes out from here, How does Nerchio hold on against that army?
Well, he'd have to weather yet another storm, and of course, then Scarlett may have another option from there. Now, this is not a bad play here to use these mutas to try to pick off some more drones. The mutas don't have as much equity in this game, and that's exactly why, because of Fungal.
Oh, a nice transfusion as well, saving that Infestor, but it can't quite kill off these mutas yet. They're being annoying, getting a few drones.
Right.
That's what they're meant for at this point in the game.
Now, Nerchio certainly knows he's in a bit of a dire position here. Scarlett has really cemented her entire hold here on the right side of the map. That base was never remade, so fundamentally, Nerchio is not getting more of an income over here.
Look at this push that's getting ready. A lot of Ravagers on the way. Because Scarlett is just about maxed, may as well make a lot of Roaches into the more powerful Ravager unit. The Muta's still trying to buy Nerchio some time and do a little bit of damage, but Scarlett doesn't care anymore. She is going for the kill.
Well, the Infestors can really screw up the positioning here for Nerchio. And a lot of this will come down to how good Scarlett's control is, but Nerchio has got to hang on. Nerchio has got to survive this attack.
Here we go. Those Infestors going to want to get to the front so they can cast their Fungal Growths. A huge spread from Nerchio. Great move right there, and Scarlett backs up for the time being.
The Queens are continuing to move over here, and Nerchio, by the way, getting in a very nice position. It looks like Scarlett may opt to not go into this corner over here.
The Roach Warren is about to bleed out. That means no more Roaches. Yeah, it is gone at this point. So right now, Nerchio's going to have a hard time reinforcing his army, to say the least.
Yeah, and the thing is, I don't think Scarlett is going to be aware of that. There's no way that she would have known. She
wouldn't expect that.
Right, she has to assume that, in fact, the Roach Warren is there. Yeah. So Scarlett may opt to not attack in here, which could be unfortunate.
It could indeed, but you know what? Scarlett is in such control between economy, creep spread, actual army. She's going into a Spire. And when she hits that Spire, this army of Nerchio, which is only going to be Roach Ravager because he has to skip all the tech due to his hurt economy, is just going to roll through him.
So it looks like our Zerg army over here for Scarlett is just backing off and playing it safe, but I do agree with what you're saying, Artosis. I think the next tech leap here from Scarlett is going to be another thorn in the paw here of Nerchio.
Oh, absolutely. It's going to be so painful indeed. Now, Nerchio kind of pushing out through the map. Scarlett looks like she wants to send through a little burrow movement squad of Roaches, see if she can get some more damage done as well. And in fact, she probably wants to bleed off a little bit of supply. She wants those to die so that she can buy enough Mutalisks to possibly end this game.
That's right. She definitely wants to throw away some of the supply so she can then replenish that with a different tech here. And this is probably the best way to do it, is to send Roaches here, there, and everywhere. Start to take out some drones, because obviously Nerchio has to respond by trying to stamp that out, which will then allow Scarlett to go into that next tech.
Scarlett taking her 5th base, adding a bunch of spine crawlers to slow down any incoming attacks, and I think we're going to see Mutalisks started very, very soon.
I think you are right, Artosis. Let's see if those Mutalisks are coming up here in just a little bit. Scarlett now with center control here, and in this matchup on this map, having that base a little bit further along here, it can kind of be like a chess game. Like having control of the center of the board can give you a little bit of an edge. You can move your pieces, or in this case, the Roaches and everything else, to whatever direction of the board you want it to go on.
Well, she can attack anywhere that she chooses this point from the shortest distances. So that's very tough for Nerchio to hold on against. Now, I mean, this is going to come to a head eventually here. Nerchio just kind of sitting back. He's trying to take some more bases, but right at his doorstep is Scarlett. A great Fungal Growth goes down. Some Corrosive Biles thrown out as well.
No more Fungals fired just yet. Scarlett being super cautious here. Nerchio, I think, probably getting into a more favorable position where Scarlett can't quite engage and therefore has to back up.
Oh, Mutalisk time.
Here we go. Okay.
All right. These Mutas are... It's going to be crazy how much damage this can do to Nerchio's army. At the minimum, Nerchio is going to have to run way, way back, which allows Scarlett to gain an even more powerful position than what she holds right now.
Nerchio still not in a bad position defensively. Definitely not letting Scarlett exploit any of Nerchio's weaknesses. In fact, I think Nerchio's going to go... Oh, I'm sorry. I thought he was going to go for a surround there, but it looks like he backs up. But we need to wait for these Mutalisks to come out and then see where they hit.
All right, some Fungals going out with some Corrosive Biles picking off anything that she can right now. The Mutas being pulled in that bottom corner.
I think pulling them is the way to go. She wants to blindside Nerchio. She wants to hit him with so many Mutalisks that he doesn't have time to have a response. And if you notice, she's slowly fished Nerchio's army to the right side of the map as Nerchio's beginning to gain a false sense of confidence, possibly, in this game.
Yeah, well, here come those Mutas right now, and this is going to be very painful for Nerchio. He's starting to attack. The Mutas come up right now. Fungal Growth going down absolutely everywhere. Corrosive Biles raining down, and Nerchio's army is being devastated.
And there's really no way for Nerchio's army to turn around. It is going to be entirely swallowed up here by the army of Scarlett. Now on the retreat, and this is where Scarlett is going to go for the jugular, headed over here to the left side of the map.
28 Mutas on the way right now for Nerchio, but Scarlett following that up with just as many. This is suddenly Taste is going to turn into a war of Mutalisks.
I know, a full-on air battle here as these two are now going to try to fight it out on the left side of the map. Now the Mutas have come out here for Nerchio. I don't know exactly the location of Scarlett's Mutas, but we're going to have to see where they choose to engage.
This is absolutely crazy. We have to look at the upgrades as well. The Mutalisks of Nerchio have +1 carapace, whereas Scarlett's only have +1 attack. That carapace, a much better upgrade for Mutalisk versus Mutalisk.
Yeah, Mutalisk armor is always better than Mutalisk attack, especially in Mutalisk versus Mutalisk here. However, a lot of drones are being killed here by for Nerchio. He's going to have to remake those eventually.
All right, more and more Mutas on the way for Scarlett. She is just going to continue to pull them. She knows she has a bigger and better economy. She has these queens as well, and her Mutalisk count is starting to run away from what Nerchio can match.
Now, Nerchio is continuing to move around with this huge clump of Mutalisks, but when will they be engaging the Mutas of Scarlett? Will they be engaging? Scarlett now here with the queens and the transfuse. That could definitely turn the tide of this game.
Fungal growth all over transfusions as well. And GG! Scarlett winning the long macro game.
The back and forth game that we wanted, we got it, man. And Scarlett turned out to be the victor.
Fantastic, unbelievably strong and intelligent play from both sides. But at the end of the day, it is Scarlett who comes out on top.
Yeah. Scarlett was ahead for most of that game, but it wasn't like she had the closer.
Yeah.
And every time Nerchio is actually responding like really, really well. But then Scarlett goes to the next step and the next and the next and the next.
She just stayed a little bit ahead of him
for almost
the entire
whole game.
Like he was maxing out, he was having almost as many drones, similar upgrades, similar tech, but she just had that little bit extra, like the fungal growth, or a few extra mutas, or the extra queens. And I mean, that was just a great macro ZvZ.
Although I gotta say, Nerchio did a really good job of staying alive. I mean, it's pretty hard in ZvZ to stay in that game when they have a lead on you, especially for some of that long stretches of time. And occasionally he was coming back with his own attacks there, but you can see Nerchio is definitely a worthy opponent for Scarlett.
Yeah, it is quite a close series so far here. And of course, the finishing move, tons of spells coming out for Scarlett. I guess she was attacking elsewhere at the same time also. Just so much going wrong there for Nerchio, but
definitely a strong finisher, though, there. I mean, that's actually the game-ending move, is once you force them into making their own Mutalisks, then you go for the killing blow, get them with that fungal, and fungal mutas against unfungled mutas, it's never, ever going to go well for that player who can't move the air units.
No, certainly not. This game was absolutely awesome. It was everything we were hoping for, Tasteless, and I think everything the crowd was hoping for as well.
You gotta be happy with a game like that. But now we're going into game number 4. In the upper right, in the red, he needs to win this game and the next. He is Nerchio! And in the bottom left, on the home turf in Canada, she is Scarlett!
It's match point right now for Scarlett.
That's
she can win it right here, whereas Nerchio has to win, and both of them have gone for pretty quick spawning pools.
Yeah, both with the very quick pulls here. We see that Scarlett already starting Zergling speed. I think we can be pretty confident that we're going to see the same here from Nerchio. But a really interesting series with these two. That last game... Oh, hold up.
Yeah, Nerchio's going for slow Zerglings with a Baneling Nest. Speed Zergling, everybody, beats slow Zergling.
You say what?
Yeah, no. If you're a quicker Zergling, you're going to beat the slower Zergling. It's as simple as that. You're going to trip him, and the bear is going to eat him.
This could be problematic here. Let's see what happens. Also, by the way, we have a Baneling's Nest coming here for Scarlett. Obviously, Banelings are going to always beat Zerglings, especially if it sounds odd, but the more Zerglings they have, get connected with that Baneling, the worse it gets. If you have one ling, you can beat it, but that means Scarlett will have a response to this as well.
Oh, this is huge right now. It looks like Nerchio going to pull back and make some Banelings, but speed is about to finish for Scarlett. She can catch all of these Zerglings very easily out on the map.
Well, good move here by Nerchio to send one ling back around to fish back some of those other lings here. And he doesn't see Zergling speed just yet, but that should have just finished right now.
Just finishing up, and Nerchio is kind of turtling on top of his ramp, bringing a queen down, already making some Banelings as well. It looks like Scarlett wants to go for a Baneling bust.
Now, Scarlett is going to use the Overlord here to peek up, ideally, and see if there's any Banelings. Of course, he can move Banelings a little bit further back so it's not cleared. It looks like that's what he's already done. But let's see, is this going to be an overextension here for Scarlett?
Oh, it could be. This is pretty easy for Nerchio to defend on that high ground. One of the Banelings goes off already there. And no real damage done by Scarlett.
Kind of a wonky trade right there. And it looks like Scarlett will probably just have to back off. But I got to say, good hold there by Nerchio.
Yeah, that was a very good defense. Things could have gone wrong if he had kept his Zerglings out in the map a little bit too long. But at the end of the day, it's a pretty even trade.
Yeah, we see the drone coming down here now. It looks like Scarlett's trying to just delay the planting of the hatchery for as long as possible before losing all of those Zerglings, and now Scarlett is going to back off.
The quicker hatchery for Nerchio, but I think that this will look pretty much the same from Scarlett's side. I expect her to make a hatchery pretty quickly here, but continuing to do a little bit of harassment at least.
Well, we have more Banelings being made. And I think this game is basically going to stabilize. I don't think we're going to have anything too insane. Of course, we can always watch the production tab, but unless we suddenly see a dozen lings being made, I think we're just going to see this game move forward into the teching phase.
Well, right now, the teching phase has begun for Nerchio.
Yeah.
He's making a super fast layer here. Could be to go straight into Mutalisks and gain that map control. So where does Scarlett go from here? Looks like her own layer will be the order of the day.
Sometimes if you get your layer a little bit later, and let's say that she gets Mutalisk as well, then that can just balance out. You can be fine simply because of the travel distance of Nerchio's Mutalisk to get to Scarlett's base. Scarlett would have her own Mutalisk to defend.
Well, Scarlett making a Roach Warren, so not necessarily going to be going up into that Mutalisk tech, but we'll see where she decides to go. Good defense so far here. By Nerchio. Scarlett just trying to detonate some Banelings if possible. Always a good trade if you trade a Zergling for a Baneling.
Exactly. If you can get them to detonate that Baneling, or you get a kill on that Baneling, and you only lose one Zergling, that's always an equitable decision. And here's that Spire we were talking about there from Nerchio.
Okay, I really like Nerchio's position, I have to tell you, Tasteless. I love the fact that he's getting into this Spire so quickly. It doesn't feel to me like there's going to be a strong timing attack that can come out from Scarlett before the mutas are out, but we'll see. She is morphing a drop Overlord. Maybe get a little bit of economic damage done on Nerchio.
Yeah, that's definitely one way to do it. Obviously, whenever we talk about this, we kind of have to wait and see how much damage is actually dealt there, because if you deal the damage or if they deny it, then it doesn't really matter.
Well, it looks like it's actually just an Overseer flying in, scouting everything, but at least that tells her that there's a Spire on the way.
That's right.
That's really important intel. And in fact, okay, going into the infestation pit, it looks like she is just going to turtle up against this.
Yeah, that's all you can do if you're going to go for infestors. You have to wait until you have all the tools that pit is going to give you, and then you want to try to catch the Mutalisks and ideally do an all-kill on all their Mutalisks, and then try to seesaw the game back into your favor.
You know, I think what we might see from Nerchio is, well, he's making some roaches. Maybe he skips the mutas for a little bit. I'd like to see him make at least a few to chase Overlords around with, but right now, just making roaches. Maybe he's afraid of an attack.
Yeah, let's see. At this point in time, I think it's fair to say both players really do want to err on the side of caution. You could see both these players, a lot of respect they have for each other. 1 or 2 slip-ups, and it's really hard to recover. So we're probably going to see potentially a lot of very conservative moves for the next short time being.
Yeah, a lot of countering of each other's techs, not necessarily counter-attacking. And there are 6 mutas on the way. Pathogen glands coming up, some spores as well. Scarlett very aware of the timing of mutas coming in.
Now, because the Mutalisks are going to give Nerchio the map control, Nerchio then moves out with his ground army to try to gain some territory. And, of course, Nerchio is going to expand again with that map control in his favor.
Okay, Nerchio with a small contain right now. That third base, definitely much quicker than what Scarlett has going on, but a lot of infestors on the way. That definitely can be very helpful.
And as you can see here, a little push coming up here. Let's see if these Banelings connect in any favorable position at all. It doesn't look like it does that much damage. The Muta's now running down here to the bottom left side of the map. Let's see if they get any drone kills.
All right, they're going to start to get some. Fungal does go down, and the Queens start to go to town on some of these Mulas, dealing quite a bit of damage. In fact, 1 goes down. The rest might get out. No, another dies as well.
That's putting Nerchio down to 4 Mutalisks, but there are more on the way here. Of course, 4 Mutas are not going to be able to kill off that hatchery by themselves. It would be very easy for Scarlett to get over there and bounce those Mutas off of that expansion. But the Infestors are out. This is kind of the game within inside the game whenever you're in this position where really the Mutas try to avoid the fungal growth, and the Infestors, of course, try to catch them with that. And it does just kind of come down to finesse.
Yeah, if you actually get those mutas all clumped up and hit them with a fungal and then chain that out with fungal after fungal after fungal while your queens are attacking, you're going to have a gigantic lead. But if you're missing your fungals, you're in a lot of trouble.
We have the Infestors over here. The mutas are actually going into this base right now. They may try to get a few more kills on these drones, which are now being evacuated around that spore crawler in the bottom right. But will the fungals connect?
Oh, it looks like they'll get out of there before the fungals have any chance. More and more drones being picked off, and the Infestors come around. 3 do get caught up.
Really good catch here by Scarlett. Now, Scarlett, you can see Nerchio's going to try to spread the mutas out to force the hand of more fungals being fired before. Scarlett would have found that to be the ideal moment, and most of those mutas do get away.
Yeah, he forced out a lot of fungals there, spread his mutas, and really threatened hurting those Infestors. So that was some great micro and some great tactics from Nerchio, who already is going up to Hive. A little bit slower than Scarlett's, though.
We've got the mutas coming down here at the bottom left, and I think this is exactly what Nerchio has to do. It's not safe necessarily, but Nerchio has to get equity out of these Mutalisks here, and so they're going to come in again. The Infestors are not nimble units. They might not get there in time.
Oh, trying so hard to get a fungal off here, and they do catch a few with that fungal.
And I believe there should be one more catch if Scarlett does this right, and it looks like
just
decides not to.
Yeah, so plenty of those getting out. And look at that. Yeah, 6 mutas have died, but 21 drones going down. So I feel like these mutas have done a pretty good job overall.
Yeah, they definitely paid for themselves in that situation. Nerchio is going to come out here, and it looks like possibly poke. I don't believe he's going to commit to this attack, but because Nerchio's taking an additional base, he wants to keep Scarlett's attention on the bottom left side of the map, or at least at the roaming army that we see here from Nerchio.
Yeah, with the fungals that are remaining, definitely these roaches would have a hard time actually breaking through everything. But right now, Scarlett and Nerchio both going up to Ultra's Caverns. This is going to be a crazy game if no one dies in the next few minutes.
Yeah, we may see this transition into just a super late game with a lot of crazy tech in here. And it could honestly look a lot like the game that we already saw. It was one where we didn't have a ton of aggression here, rather a few tech jumps here and there. But yeah, you're totally right, Artosis. We could go straight into late game from here.
Mutas continuing to fly in, find what sort of damage that they can. These are not really the most useful units right now. If they can get out some fungals or something, that's fantastic. But that's about the extent of it. Meanwhile, both players getting that chitinous plating, trying to upgrade the melee attack and carapace. Very important when you're going Ling Ultra.
Now Nerchio, with that expansion basically acquired and soon to be, taking the fruit from that, he should be trying to then get the next tech leap ahead here. We see both players are frantically upgrading, and Nerchio now getting these ultras out here. That's going to be the next thing that Scarlett has to deal with.
That's going to be a little bit tough, too, because Infestors are all but worthless against Ultralists. The Fungals don't hold them down. Infested Terrans, you know, against that Carapace aren't going to be very good, and he's making a lot of them. So I'm a little bit nervous right now for Scarlett as Nerchio comes into this third base and starts targeting down the hatchery.
A bold move, and the hatchery goes down without any real losses here for Nerchio.
That was a fantastic move for Nerchio. He is definitely ahead at this point. Both players making a lot of ultras. I like his spot.
I like his spot a lot, Artosis. I think Nerchio can really close this out over here, unless he makes some kind of crucial mistake with his army, and Scarlett then exploits that.
Well, that could happen, but these guys are so high level, I don't really see it coming. But here we go. The Ultra's actually coming up the ramp right now. There are a lot of Queens here for Scarlett that can help out. The Roach is dealing as much damage as it can. Fungals go down, but they're little more than a weak Psystorm here.
And he's coming in right now with these Ultras. We see the Roaches also moving down here to eliminate more of the drones. The Roaches then escape.
The Ultra going to pick off this hatchery almost all by its lonesome. Wants to finish that off for sure, but you know, this was a ton of damage by Nerchio, and he hasn't taken any damage this game.
Nerchio attempted to play a game of whack-a-mole with Scarlett's expansions, and he got every mole.
Yeah.
Taking out every possible expansion and then getting away again. And I think Nerchio should be able to close this as far as expansions, as far as drones, as far as units and army. There's just nothing that puts Scarlett in a lead in any conceivable way here.
Yeah, really what Scarlett has to work with here that Nerchio does not is some extra Queens and maybe a couple Infestors left over. I don't think that'll be enough, though, as Nerchio attacks up this ramp. Trying to utilize some of this splash damage, trying to utilize that choke as well, but Nerchio dealing huge amounts of damage.
Nerchio trying to kick in the front door here. The Ultralists eventually do breach this location, and the army of Scarlett is swallowed up. GG.
Wow, that brings us to 2-2. The series is tied, and these top two Zergs are going to that fifth and final game.
That's right, Artie. It's all going to come down to this one game. We see Scarlett here looking a bit pensive, understandably so. I thought Nerchio really did a good job staying in control in that game. And that was a game where Nerchio got the leg up and actually kept it a lot more firmly in his control for the entire game than Scarlett did in game number 3.
That's very true. Like, he kind of forced her into this position by immediately starting that layer as quickly as he possibly could and going right into Spire. He knew that likely Scarlett wasn't doing that right then because that game could have gone any which way. It was kind of crazy. And then she can't really go into mutas. You can't go mutas later than your opponent. It's a very tricky thing to do because if they have more mutas, they'll kill you.
Look at you.
Yeah.
You're completely right, though. I mean, there really isn't a ton of options from that point in time. And also, there were several attacks where you could see Scarlett just wasn't in any position at all to actually hold the attack, and Nerchio would run in and bam, take out a hatchery, boom, run back out, and it continued to do that, and eventually Scarlett just didn't have any of the resources to actually do much of anything.
Yeah, a lot of the Beetleless harassment was really fantastic as well, like especially, that was the sweet spot of this entire series, that left part of the main hatchery. There was no Spore there, a lot of drones lost their lives.
Right.
And, you know, Nerchio just worked on his lead the entire game, never taking damage from Scarlett once. I'm
definitely interested in seeing what the tech choices and openings are going to be as we go into our last game. And again, if you're just now joining us, we're tied up 2-2. Scarlett versus Nerchio. Only one player is going to survive the series.
Yeah, it's a really big deal for Scarlett as well. Of course, her home crowd here in Canada. She wants to win in front of everybody, but also, she is not set for BlizzCon. Like, she needs to get a lot further, whereas Nerchio, it doesn't matter. He didn't have to come to this tournament. He has enough points. He's going to BlizzCon just no matter what.
Well, with this one game remaining, I'm very curious as to how they're going to choose to tech. Whatever secrets they have in the matchup of ZvZ, now is the time to reveal them. So much on the line for both of these players. Nerchio, a player who is interested in winning any event he attends. And Scarlett has been training in Korea for some while now, and is excited to exhibit these skills that she's learned.
Well, she's definitely been showing them so far in this tournament. Just fantastic play coming out of Scarlett, destroying Puck 3-0. Now bringing Nerchio to that 5th and final game.
Yeah.
Like any tournament Nerchio enters, he's basically the favorite. So to bring him even to the 5th game is a lot to talk about, but Scarlett does not want to stop there.
We are moments away from starting this. I believe we'll be jumping into this game soon. Again, so great to be down here in beautiful Montreal, Canada. Fantastic crowd, fantastic games. And let's get right into it. In the upper left, in the red, our Zerg player, Nerchio. His opponent in the bottom right in the blue. Give it up for Scarlett!
Doesn't get much more epic than Nerchio versus Scarlett Game 5.
Yeah, this is quite a treat. We were saying it should be really close. Well, it was, and now it's going to come down to this. You really can't ask for a better series right now than these two players. The best North American Zerg from Canada, the best European Zerg from Poland, here fighting it out.
The map is King Sejong Station.
A classic.
The build orders are basically the same. So nothing crazy going on. No one getting a build order advantage early on here, and that's kind of exactly what I wanted to see going into Game 5.
Should be a reasonably long game. We'll know better if we see a mass plume of links come up here. But yeah, for the time being, it is going to be very interesting. As we were saying before, there's so many different strategies and play styles in Zerg versus Zerg. But at some point in time, you got to decide, okay, like, for instance, on this map, what is actually the best way to approach this against this specific player? This is going to be the best ZvZ from these two that we've ever seen.
You are right about that. They are not going to leave anything on the table. Full force must be used. This is the final power-up in Dragon Ball Z.
That's right.
In Dragon Ball ZvZ, some might say.
So we have some of the links coming out now, and they're going to be doing a little bit of scouting here on each other. We see the first sign of teching, the Baneling's Nest coming down here, and Scarlett's a few moments later.
Everything's still lining up close enough that nothing should startle anybody, and it looks like Scarlett is going to take her 3rd base first.
Now, I don't believe necessarily that Nerchio will be able to deny this 3rd base down here, but he might. We'll see if he makes a bunch of links. But I think generally in ZvZ, this is pretty safe to do, and I think we're probably going to see Nerchio do the same thing on his side of the map.
Well, you're quite right about that, Tasteless. He's going to come down and harass the hatchery slightly. Of course, Scarlett will stop that, but in the meantime, he's already made his 3rd hatchery as well.
So somewhat mirrored builds here. We'll see how mirrored the positions are going to be, as now we have some lings being made here by Nerchio. Still drones coming up here for Scarlett.
Ooh, that could make it a little bit dicey for her to hold on. Does Nerchio continue past that set of lings? Yeah, here we go. Nerchio's making a lot of Zerglings right now. Scarlett does have a couple defensive Banelings on the way, which is really good against this, but she needs to stop droning. She needs to make a few more Zerglings.
Nerchio smells blood in the water. He is going for the jugular. Will Scarlett be ready? The Zerglings are headed southbound. Scarlett must hold this attack or this series is going to end.
Okay, Scarlett coming down with a couple queens here to help pick off as much as she possibly can. The Banelings coming down as well. 3 Zerglings do get picked off there. Trying to run into that mineral line right now. She can't let that... Whoa! 6 drones go down. Very nice move there by Nerchio, gaining an advantage early on.
And Nerchio immediately retracts his army. Now going southbound again. Initially was moving back. I thought perhaps taking that lead and deciding to back off, but Nerchio may continue to try to be aggressive only with counters, not exactly by trying to end the game here, and we know that because drones are still being made.
The Zergling counterattack down to that 3rd base. Not really finding any damage, but Nerchio is keeping Scarlett busy at home right now as his Roach Warren finishes up and Scarlett starts.
So let's see, where does Scarlett try to take this game? Scarlett is pushing out with some of her own Zerglings, but of course the sheer volume of Zerglings that Nerchio still has from that aggression earlier on is going to make it a little bit tricky for Scarlett. We see that there's Evos being put down right now, so some upgrade play and Roaches later on, but for the time being, Scarlett is going to have to weather the storm of Nerchio.
Yeah, he's still running around here, making a lot of Roaches at home. I wonder if he's actually planning on going for an all-in attack here. That is a lot of Roaches that he's producing and trying to surround those Queens. Not quite getting him, though. Scarlett a bit too quick.
Really solid positioning here from Scarlett. Really not taking any flack here from Nerchio. So we see these Banelings come up here, not the greatest connect, and the remaining Banelings will zone out Nerchio.
Ooh, not really the greatest Banelings there for Scarlett. Nerchio kind of playing with her right now, dealing quite a bit of damage, getting some drones, a Queen, a bunch of Zerglings killed there as well, and he continues to make Roaches.
You can see right now Nerchio actually with a lot of Zerglings and now a lot of Roaches coming out here to try to put some pressure. Now, Scarlett may be able to hold this, but it depends on how much more drones she decides to make versus an attacking army. Now, she sees it now. Let's see how fast she reacts.
Well, she needs to make nothing but Roaches at the moment. Starting to throw down some spine crawlers. She's very scared right now. When you see spines go down like that, she knows she's in trouble. This is a huge attack from Nerchio coming down. Even Zerglings being rallied behind.
Okay, is Scarlett going to be ready? Nerchio with these Lings, again, coming up. They're going to meet up with the army as the attack comes in. You generally just reinforce with the Zerglings and hope that the Roaches can stay in the back so the Zerglings can tank the damage. Here they come now!
Oh, this is a big attack from Nerchio. 4 Ravagers coming in as well. Some Banelings do pop out for Scarlett. A lot of Lings coming down for Nerchio right now. This is going to be very hard for Scarlett to hold.
The Banelings spill in now, dealing some damage to those Roaches. The other Zerglings here from Nerchio will be down soon. Scarlett is going to have to back up and regroup.
Scarlett taking a lot of damage, losing so many critical units. A bunch of Banelings rolling up right now for Nerchio. The Spine Crawler's really helping out quite a bit, but Nerchio's army is gigantic.
And Nerchio continues to press forward. The Spines are up, but there's nothing else here to defend. Nerchio almost now taking out the second base.
And this is looking so bad for Scarlett. She's starting to fight with drones. That's when you know you're really in trouble. More and more Roaches popping out. 11 drones have gone down. She might be able to clean this up, but Nerchio's continuing to make army units at home.
Nerchio is not done attacking yet. The remaining Roaches are going to be cleaned up, but at what cost? 15 drones down. Nerchio beginning to regroup on the high ground. Will he press forward? We will see.
Scarlett just needs to hold on from here. She can't take any more damage. She has a smaller army, but a similar drone count. So she still might be able to win this game, but she cannot lose anymore.
Okay, I think Nerchio may have overextended back there. The thing is, it's 39 drones to now 46. Let's see how this next attack goes, but Nerchio has to breach the defenses of Scarlett here. Scarlett is setting up and doing a very good job of it.
Yeah, she's zoning pretty well at the moment. Let's not forget, though, Nerchio's lair is almost done, so he can either go Roach speed or he can go into Aspire once again. Both of those are going to be very, very powerful against Scarlett.
Nerchio may try to jump in again. I think this angle is definitely unfavorable here for Nerchio. Nerchio once again backing up. Will Scarlett continue to press? But whoa! Big Ling attack down here.
Just a fantastic move by Nerchio, picking off 9 drones. 9 drones that Scarlett cannot be losing right now. A very tough position for her as Nerchio pulls ahead in economy. But right now, Scarlett has a pretty good army.
Yeah, maybe Scarlett could try countering here while the Spire's on the way. This seems to be a characteristic of Nerchio's playstyle, is to get the Spire when he does seem to get that lead, and maybe Scarlett will have the instincts to identify that.
Yeah, if she's caught off guard when those Mutalisks pop out, she's going to be in real big trouble. She is getting Roach speed. She's getting that +2 attack, so her ground army is going to be much stronger than Nerchio's, but of course, none of that shoots up.
Ever since the dawn of StarCraft, there's always been a timing you can try to pull off against Mutalisks. The Zerg want to save up the right amount of larvae to make a lot of Mutalisks all at once. Mutalisks get exponentially strong the more of them you have. However, when you're not making anything and saving that larva, occasionally a big ground army can run you over. That may be Scarlett's best game plan.
Yeah, she's making a lot of roaches. That roach speed is going to be finishing up. She's opened up the back rocks as well, which is kind of interesting. Not sure exactly what she wants to do with that. Maybe attack up that backside.
Possibly.
She's got to move soon because the Spire has just finished up. Nerchio is taking his 4th base and making Mutalisks.
There's a chance Nerchio could get doubly ahead here. We don't see Scarlett reacting, although even if she does attack, I don't know if it would work.
Yeah, it's really hard to say if she can do anything with 8 mutas already on the way. She is starting to push her creep up very aggressively through the center of the map. She has a gigantic land army. Maybe she can punch through and do some damage. She can at least keep those Mutalisks busy.
We see the roaches gathered up here at the bottom, but I look at this game and I see, let's say 2 minutes from now, what on earth is Scarlett going to do? How would Scarlett recover?
I think it's tough, man, especially with these mutas flying out. They're starting to pick off Overlord. She's throwing up her spores as quickly as possible. This is giving complete map control right now to Nerchio.
Now, Nerchio went for the more conservative route and is cleaning up Overlords on the map instead of taking any risks, since Nerchio's not entirely sure what Scarlett has, but Scarlett's going to go for a counterattack here at the ramp.
Ooh, a lot of corrosive biles actually hit the back of Scarlett's army, but she is punching up right now. She needs to get some damage done to this army, trying to split against those biles. She forces Nerchio's ground army back and is going after this 4th base.
The 4th base goes down, no cancel there. Scarlett will continue to press forward. The Mutalisks are now turning around. How much more damage can Scarlett do?
She's going into the natural and the 3rd base at the same time. The Mutas coming up doing what they can. Corrosive biles being thrown out by Nerchio as he retreats into his natural.
North of this, a lot of drones are being killed off. 7 already. Evening this drone count out. The roaches continue to press forward. If Scarlett can breach us here, Scarlett can hit the main and the second.
This is a huge attack from Scarlett, but those mutas continue to do damage. Will Nerchio be able to clean up these roaches? No, the roaches get into that drone line, and Scarlett is dealing critical damage to Nerchio.
16 drones already down, and Scarlett is not stopping. The drones here to block the ramp, trying to go back in mine, making a beeline into the main.
She's going for every bit of damage she can get while back at home, making more roaches, making some hydras as well. Here she comes with even more roaches headed up towards that 3rd base.
I think Nerchio may be able to hold this off. This may be an overextension here from Scarlett, but Scarlett is going to go for it. She's going to try and take out as many more workers as possible. 40 workers for Nerchio, 39 workers for Nerchio, and 51 here for Scarlett.
Oh man, that was a lot of economic damage done, and so many hydras at home right now for Scarlett. She has done a great job utilizing that strong roach army to get ahead against a better teched out Nerchio player.
But this next counterattack might actually clean Nerchio up. We see the queens are coming out here with the rest of this army, clearly there for some transfuses. This is enough hydras to kill off the mutas, but the mutas don't necessarily have to engage the hydras.
Does Nerchio have to do like a base trade or something? I don't even know. It doesn't look like he even has time to start that, but this is really rough. Those hydras are going to deal massive, massive amounts of damage.
The queens are coming up. The army has to stay in pace with the queens here as we see more and more roaches being made. I don't believe Nerchio is going to make any more Mutalisks with this number of hydras here.
No, you're certainly right about that. Maybe if he kills them all off, that'd be a great tech switch. But right now, Nerchio just needs to hold a ramp somewhere. But Scarlett going around with those sneaky roaches, trying to get some damage done. And while she punches up through the middle.
More drones being picked off. This army of Scarlett is headed northbound, and it is not stopping.
Oh, so powerful. Those queens coming up slowly but surely, transfusing everything. Corrosive biles going down. Scarlett is going forward right now, trying to kill off Nerchio. Those hydras dealing massive amounts of damage.
And continue. There it is. GG!
Fantastic play coming out of Scarlett, taking down Nerchio 3-2.
Well, what an amazing series. It was so close. It was a nail-biter from game 1 to the final game where Scarlett won. I was on the edge of my seat there. Unbelievable. Scarlett moves on in this DreamHack here in Montreal.
A huge moment for her to win against the player considered to be the best of the non-Korean players,
She did
Nerchio. They showed absolutely everything in the ZvZ book, and then some things that we've never even seen before.
That's right.
A crazy series, so well played by Scarlett. She so deserves to keep on going.
I was going crazy in that game. I nearly lost my voice. She barely managed to push through. She had the right number of Hydras, so that the mutas were completely nullified, right? Nerchio couldn't switch back into enough roaches. Also, Scarlett made the right decision to have enough of those Ravengers there, so that really, even if the position was good here, there was not much that Nerchio could do.
This massive attack that we saw from her was really utilizing how strong her ground army was. She had that +2 attack, she had that roach speed, and she had a huge army indeed. Like, Nerchio put up such a fight here, using a lot of corrosive biles to try to hold it off, bringing back his mutas as well, but it just wasn't enough. She did huge amounts of damage here.
You know, for a little bit, I wasn't sure if this attack was going to work, but yeah, once she breaks it right there, and this is what makes the attack so good, is you split your armies everywhere, right? And because you have enough at all these locations where drones are, Nerchio's units are not actually coming out fast enough, so then you start to kill off all the drones, and of course, yes, eventually Nerchio holds up that initial attack. It doesn't matter. He's remaking drones. Scarlett then goes to, the next phase of the game and continues that lead.
Yeah, it was magnificently played, like the rest of the series, Tasteless.
Yeah.
What a pleasure to watch. What a pleasure to cast.
Yeah. Smix, how is Scarlett doing?
Well, I'm sure she's happy, but let's let her just explain it herself. First of all, congratulations, Scarlett. You're moving on to the top 8 here in Montreal in front of these fans that have been going absolutely crazy cheering for you. That series was just phenomenal play from both you and Nerchio, but first of all, just what is going through your head right now? Because as soon as you walked here, you just slumped back in your seat and you just spaced off. So what is going through your head?
I really had no idea what was happening the entire series. I was kind of like the crowd and everything.
All the
So
adrenaline?
I was just doing stuff and I'm hoping it worked.
Well, your doing stuff was proved to be more than enough for the previous champion in Nerchio. So, first of all, I mean, even in that last game, and I'll let you go into more detail because that series, just so many games were so great. But especially in that last game, there was a moment where I think a lot of the fans here were getting really nervous. It looked really dangerous for you, and somehow you were able to turn it around and come back. So, what happened there?
The last game? I was caught off guard when I saw the big roach attack. I was trying to defend it. I think I forgot to cancel my +1. I thought I did, and I didn't have roach speed. Like, the game was really weird, and then I was going to do a big roach attack, and I didn't think he'd make mutas so fast. So I thought I'd lost when I saw the mutas come out, and then I just went for it, because I went around the mutas, he didn't see it, and I just went for it, and I guess it worked.
Yeah, everything you said, I was actually watching with Rotterdam, and he said everything that you just said, that, that you probably didn't expect that the mutas would come out. But go ahead, Kevin, and explain.
Yeah, I want to talk about Game 5 as well, because that was awesome. But of course, I mean, first of all, congratulations. That was a great ZvZ series. I think everybody that doesn't play Zerg in this room still enjoyed it, because that was just awesome to watch. I mean, I think the first 2 games were relatively, as we often see them in ZvZ. First game, solid attack, it worked. Second game, the Banelings connected with the drones a few too many times. Game 3, however, I thought it was a phenomenal ZvZ on New Gettysburg. How did you experience that game? Because there was one point where I felt, okay, the attack was good, but Nerchio defended, and then you saw like, okay, if I keep on making roaches, this is obviously going to be hard. I need something more. You went for tunneling claws, just talk to us. How did you experience that game at that point?
As I said, like, I wasn't really sure what was happening that series, so I had no idea how far ahead or behind I was after the attack on Gettysburg. I was kind of worried, but I thought I could be in a good position. And then again, I didn't expect the mutas at that time, so I just went into tunneling claws. He didn't I don't think he was expecting me to do that, so it worked out for me.
Yeah, I definitely think that made the difference, because I think otherwise with Mutalisk it can be easy to defend against multiple wrong attacks, but the moment that burrows or like roaches are attacking 3-4 bases, but you're also burrowing everywhere and unburrowing, it becomes a nightmare as a Zerg to defend against, right?
Yeah.
All right. I mean, in the fourth game, obviously, I think Nerchio played very solid on that game. You both opened up very aggressively. What was that all about?
I actually really liked that build on that map. I didn't think Nerchio would, but I thought he wouldn't expect me to do it, especially when I'm up 2 games in the series. So we both did that, and it went really weird. Like, he canceled the speed and he made a layer. I scouted. I saw 1 gas. I thought he was nidusing me. I was gonna go Midas. I had 2 gas. I was ahead on gas. So if I went Midas, I would have won that game, I think. But I thought he was nidusing me because I saw like 1 gas layer. And I'm like, what is this? So I made a roach ward myself, and then I just felt like in a really bad position that game, and he uses Midas really well. So.
And I mean, that last game on King Sejong, I think it had a little bit of everything. It had a lot of drama. Obviously, that attack, you started with the links, but it was quite late. I mean, at that moment, you know the army supply numbers from watching games where it's like 45 against 12, and I was like, one moment, okay, he's stupid at, like, there's no way. And then I saw the spines go up, and I was like, nope, you know, I stood up. I was like, all right, it's ready. And I think Nerchio, and then suddenly you hold with the +1 roaches. At that point, I think, okay, now I think Nerchio is like almost dead because it's going to be very hard. Then he made some good counterattacks with the links. He bought some times. But what I'm very surprised by, and I don't know if you were surprised by it, is that he made a couple of Mutalisk and they started picking up Overlords, but then he immediately went back to roaches. Is that something that you were surprised by as well? Because I think if your attack hits against like 10 or 11 Mutas, it becomes a lot harder. Or
harder for me?
Yeah.
It's kind of weird playing ZvZ when you're going roach into Muta, which is kind of more popular nowadays, but if you make too many Mutas at once, or you save up for it and they attack you with roaches, you'll just straight up die. So like, it's good to make a few, and I just think maybe he was kind of behind there, especially because I had +2.
Yeah, they attacked so.
And his Mutas were out of position when my roaches got around. But I feel like it was the correct choice to go straight back into roaches, because he thought I would just attack him with no anti-air, which I did. So he would have lost even harder if he made more Mutas, I think.
All right, well, it was an awesome series. I think everybody here enjoyed it, so congratulations.
Yeah, and the next series is definitely going to be promising as well, Scarlett. It's going to be against Neeb. And Scarlett, we've had many conversations about Neeb. I think that when you compliment a player, it means a lot. So the fact that you've always been praising him to me, I can only imagine that means to you, at least, that you respect him that much more as a player. So with this upcoming matchup, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm very worried for it. I actually live with Neeb now in Korea, and usually when we play it doesn't go so well for me. So, but at the same time, like, even if he does beat me, like, I think I have a chance, of course, but I think even if he does beat me, I wouldn't be disappointed because he's my roommate, he's my friend, and I really like seeing him do well as well. But of course I'd like to win here in Canada.
Well, I'm sure the fans here will be behind you. Well, congratulations again. You will be moving on to the top 8. And guys, of course, after this break, we will be starting right away with the quarterfinals. Our first match will be a Terran versus Terran in Hero Marine and Major, so stay tuned.